Imagine this. It's 2 a.m. The world is quiet, the streets outside are empty, and you're lying awake staring at the ceiling. You've worked hard your whole life, studied, hustled, survived heartbreaks and disappointments, checked off the boxes society asked you to check. And yet, somewhere deep inside, an unsettling feeling whispers, "Is this really all I'm meant for? Why doesn't my life feel as big as my dreams? Why do I feel stuck even when I'm trying so hard?" Maybe you felt this on a random Tuesday evening. Maybe it hits you every time a birthday comes around. Or maybe you feel it whenever you see someone boldly living the life you secretly wish was yours. That strange mixture of frustration and possibility, like something inside you is begging to break free. That feeling is exactly where this story begins. Because You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero is not just another self-help book. It's a mirror, a wake-up call, a punchy, funny, brutally honest guide that tells you what very few people ever say out loud. You are powerful. You are capable. You are meant for more. And the only thing standing between you and the life you want is you. This book doesn't whisper wisdom. It kicks down the door with confidence, humor, and raw truth. And today, we are going to walk through its ideas in a way that speaks directly to your heart. Welcome to Buddha Wisdom, where we explore powerful life ideas through storytelling, emotion, and deep reflection. If you love learning from life-changing books, don't forget to subscribe to Buddha Wisdom. It encourages us to bring you more beautiful, transformative summaries just like this one. Now, let's dive into the story. Let's meet the version of you who's been hiding. Your bold, brave, unstoppable self. Your badass. Part 1. Meeting your inner badass. Every powerful story begins with a simple truth. And the truth Jen Sincero wants you to understand is this: the life you want is already inside you. You just have to stop arguing for your limitations. But we don't believe this easily, do we? We grow up learning how to shrink, how to play safe, how to follow rules, how to be realistic, how to not dream too big, how to not embarrass ourselves, and most importantly, how to not disappoint anyone. We learn to fit into a life that looks good on paper, but doesn't always feel good in our soul. It's like building a beautiful cage and then calling it home. Jen Sincero starts by asking a striking question. What if the only thing separating you from a life you absolutely love is the story you keep telling yourself? Not your IQ, not your age, not your job, not the economy, not where you were born, not your past mistakes, but your story. Because here's the truth, we all have one. Some people carry stories like, "I'm not talented enough. I'm too old to start over. No one will take me seriously. People like me don't become rich. What if I fail? What will they think?" And while these stories feel like facts, they're actually invisible chains. Chains we placed on ourselves without even realizing it. Think of a baby elephant. When it's small, trainers tie its leg with a rope. The elephant tries to break free, but it's too weak. Eventually, it stops trying. Now, the elephant grows up, powerful, massive, strong enough to uproot trees. But the same thin rope keeps it in place. Not because the rope is strong, but because the elephant believes it is. Most of us live the same way, held back not by real obstacles, but by old beliefs. Jen Sincero calls this your inner critic, the voice in your head that loves to stay comfortable, safe, familiar, even if familiar is miserable. That voice says, don't take risks, don't shine too bright, don't want too much, don't try something new, don't embarrass yourself. But deep down, you know something else is trying to speak. A different voice, quieter but stronger, gentler but more powerful. Your inner badass. That part of you that says, what if you actually went for it? What if you dared to dream? What if you trusted your instincts? What if life could be so much bigger? This book is the story of letting that voice finally win. Part 2. The energy of belief and the universe. Jen Sincero talks a lot about energy, not in a mystical way, but in a practical and emotional way. She says something profound. Your thoughts create your reality. Now, we've heard this a million times, but think about it again. Every invention, every business, every great relationship, every dream home, every book, every song, everything began as a thought, a tiny spark inside someone's mind. Your life works the same way. Your thoughts shape your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your behavior. Your behavior shapes your habits. Your habits shape your results. So if you constantly think, I'm stuck, I can't change, this is my destiny, I'm unlucky, I'm not special, then your mind will search for ways to confirm it. You won't try that new idea. You won't ask for that opportunity. You won't take that risk. You won't talk to that person. You won't change your routine. You'll play small. Not because you're incapable, but because you're convinced you are. This is why Jen Sincero emphasizes something powerful. You have to train your mind like an athlete trains their body. If you want to lift heavy weights, you don't start with 100 kilos. You start small. You build strength. You repeat. You push limits. Changing your mindset works the same way. It requires practice, repetition, awareness, and most importantly, a deep belief that you deserve greatness. Imagine believing with your entire heart that you deserve money, you deserve success, you deserve love, you deserve joy, you deserve opportunities, you deserve miracles. How different would your life look? Here's where Jen introduces an important idea, something many spiritual teachers also talk about. The universe responds to your energy. When you stand tall and act like you deserve abundance, the world mirrors it back to you. When you walk around complaining, focusing on problems, feeling sorry for yourself, thinking small, the world mirrors that too. It's like tuning into a radio frequency. If you tune your mind to 94.7 FM, you can't expect to hear music playing on 102.3 FM. Your life works the same way. You cannot expect abundance while constantly entertaining scarcity. You cannot expect confidence while repeating stories of insecurity. You cannot expect a new chapter if you're still reading the old one every day. And here's a quote from the book that hits hard. You are responsible for what you believe and responsible for the life you create around those beliefs. It's powerful because it reminds us that we're not victims of fate. We are co-creators of our life. But here's the beautiful part. If you created limiting beliefs, you can also uncreate them, replace them, rewrite them, upgrade them. Your mind is not a prison. It's a garden. It grows whatever you plant. Fear or faith, doubt or possibility. The choice is yours. Part 3. Why self-love is your superpower. You've probably heard the phrase love yourself 1,000 times. It sounds sweet, poetic, Instagram friendly. But in real life, it's one of the hardest things to do. Why? Because we're experts at criticizing ourselves. We judge our looks, our weight, our income, our past mistakes, our failures, our timings, our choices, everything. We compare ourselves endlessly. We push ourselves to please everyone. We suppress our desires to be practical. We punish ourselves for not being perfect. But here's what Jen Sincero says. You are a badass not because of what you achieve, but because of who you already are. Self-love is not ego. It's not selfishness. It's not arrogance. Self-love is recognizing your worth, respecting your boundaries, honoring your desires, trusting your intuition, forgiving your past, believing you deserve more. Imagine talking to yourself like you talk to someone you deeply love. Imagine cheering for yourself the way you cheer for others. Imagine treating your dreams with the same respect you treat your responsibilities. Self-love is the foundation of change. Think of a phone battery. When it's drained, everything slows down. Notifications lag, apps freeze, the screen dims. But when it's charged, everything flows effortlessly. Self-love is that charge. Without it, you move through life exhausted, unsure, apologetic, constantly trying to prove something. With it, you move like a person who knows their value, calm, focused, grounded. Here's a thought. What if you stopped apologizing for who you are? What if you stopped dimming your light to make others comfortable? What if you stopped waiting for permission to live your life fully? Jen reminds us that people who change their lives dramatically don't do it because they're extraordinary. They do it because they finally decided to believe in themselves unapologetically. Far turning fear into fuel. Let's begin with a simple truth. Every great life requires courage. But courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward despite fear. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is just a signal, an alarm your brain pulls when you step outside your comfort zone. Think about the first time you tried something new, your first day in a new school, your first job interview, your first time speaking on stage, your first time confessing your feelings to someone, your first business idea, your first time traveling alone. You were scared, weren't you? Your hands shook, your heart raced, your mind panicked with what ifs. But you still did it. And what happened? Life moved forward. Because fear is not a wall, it's a doorway. Jen Sincero says something powerful. Fear is just the brain's way of trying to keep you safe, even when safe means miserable. Your brain loves patterns, it loves comfort, it loves familiarity, it hates uncertainty. So whenever you think about making a bold change, starting a business, asking for a promotion, ending a bad relationship, moving to a new city, learning a new skill, taking a leap of faith, your brain immediately screams, "Wait, stop, danger!" Is it actually dangerous? No. But the unknown feels dangerous to a brain designed 2 million years ago. Your brain thinks uncertainty equals death, so it tries to protect you by keeping you stuck. That's why Jen uses humor when she talks about fear. She says fear is like a tiny chihuahua. It barks loudly, but it can't really hurt you. Most of our fears are not lions waiting to attack us. They're shadows, illusions, old stories. And yet, those illusions make us freeze. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked back at a moment where fear held you back and realized later that you overreacted? You thought the worst would happen and nothing happened. You thought people would judge you and no one cared. You thought you'd fail miserably and you succeeded. Fear is almost always an exaggeration, a movie your mind creates with dramatic music and special effects. Jen Sincero says the only way to beat fear is action, not thinking, not over-planning, not waiting for the perfect moment. Action, because action is the only thing fear cannot survive. The moment you start taking steps, sending the email, making the call, taking the class, posting the content, saying yes to the opportunity, fear begins to shrink. Think of fear like darkness. You don't fight darkness with a stick, you turn on the light. Action is that light. And the beautiful thing is this: every time you take action despite fear, you train yourself to become the kind of person who no longer lets fear make their decisions. Imagine how your life could expand if fear stopped being the boss and started becoming simply background noise. Part 5. The Art of Taking Risks. Life opens up when you do. But most people spend years, even decades, waiting for the right moment to take a risk. They wait for a time when everything is stable, everything is certain, everything is clear, everything is comfortable, everything is safe. But here's the truth Jen reminds us. If you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. Risks are not reckless, risks are necessary. Think of every person you admire: entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, inventors, leaders. They're not just talented, they're brave. They took risks that others avoided. They made decisions that others doubted. They tried things that could have failed, but could have succeeded even more. There's a beautiful line in the book where Jen says, "You'll never grow big if you insist on staying small." So let's talk about what taking risks really means. Most people think risk equals danger, but Jen explains risk equals expansion, risk equals alignment, risk equals faith in yourself, risk equals betting on your dreams. You risk when you commit to a bigger version of your life, leaving a job you've outgrown, saying yes to something you don't feel ready for, showing your work to the world, changing a habit, setting boundaries, leaving the wrong relationship, moving to a new environment, trying something new even when it scares you. Here's a secret: nobody ever feels ready. Not Oprah, not Elon Musk, not Steven Spielberg, not Jen Sincero herself. Nobody ever wakes up 100% confident. Courage is not a feeling. Courage is a decision. It's choosing to trust that the universe supports boldness, that life rewards action, that your future self will thank you for stepping into the unknown. So Jen encourages you to ask yourself, what is one risk I've been avoiding because I'm scared, but deep down I know it's exactly what I need? Whatever your answer is, that's where your transformation begins. Part 6. The Power of Decision. This part is one of the most life-changing parts of the book. Jen Sincero says something most people never hear clearly. The moment you decide, truly decide, everything changes. Not hope, not wish, not try, not see what happens, not maybe one day, but decide. Decisions are magical. When you make a real decision, you cut off all other possibilities. For example, not "I'll try to save money," but "I will save money, period." Not "I'll try to lose weight," but "I will be healthy, starting today." Not "I'll try to build this business," but "I am building it no matter what." Not "I'll try to believe in myself," but "I am done playing small." When you make this kind of decision, your brain reprograms itself. Your energy shifts, your habits realign, your environment transforms, your opportunities appear. People think miracles happen magically, but often the miracle is just clarity. Clarity creates momentum, momentum creates progress, progress creates results, and results create more belief. It's like pushing a heavy car. The hardest part is the first few seconds, but once it starts moving, it becomes easier and easier. Every big success story begins with that one moment of decision. Jen shares examples from her own life, how she was broke, lost, living in a cramped space, and how one day she simply decided, "I refuse to live this way anymore." She didn't know how to change, she didn't have the plan, she didn't have the money, she didn't have the certainty, but she had a decision. And decisions attract the how. Most people wait for the plan before making the decision, but Jen flips it. Make the decision first, then the plan will show up. If you keep waiting to see the whole staircase, you'll never take the first step. So ask yourself, where in my life am I waiting instead of deciding? Because your future depends on what you decide today. Star Part 7. Becoming Unstoppable. Now we reach one of the most empowering themes in the book, the idea of becoming mentally and spiritually unstoppable. Jen Sincero explains that people who transform their lives do not have fewer problems. They are simply more committed to their vision than to their excuses. They move like a river, steadily, persistently, naturally carving its own path, no matter what obstacles lie in the way. And here's the beautiful part. Becoming unstoppable doesn't mean you never fall. It means you never stay down. You learn to rise faster, to adapt quicker, to see challenges as growth, to trust that every setback is a setup for something bigger. There's a reason successful people often say, "Failure was my best teacher." They understand something many people don't. Every time you fail, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. Being unstoppable means you want your dreams more than you want comfort. You choose growth over fear. You value progress over perfection. You ignore the opinions that try to shrink you. You stop negotiating with your potential. You believe that the universe responds to your boldness. Let me ask you something simple. Have you ever seen a toddler learning to walk? They fall again and again and again, but they never sit there saying, "This walking thing isn't for me. I failed too many times. I'm too embarrassed. People are watching. I'm clearly not talented." No, they get up every time. They are unstoppable. And guess what? That toddler was you. You once knew how to keep trying no matter what. Jen Sincero wants you to remember that, because your unstoppable self never disappeared. It's just been buried under years of doubt, criticism, fear, and conditioning. But it's still inside you, strong, fiery, unbroken, waiting. This book is about bringing that version of you back. Part 8. The Spirit of Money and Abundance. Let's begin with something many people feel uncomfortable talking about: money. We judge people who have too much of it. We pity people who have too little. We fear not having enough. We feel guilty wanting more. We struggle to ask for it. We hesitate to receive it. We worry about losing it. Money is emotional, deeply emotional, and Jen Sincero doesn't shy away from this truth. In fact, she dedicates a powerful section of the book to something many readers find surprisingly freeing. You are allowed to want money. You are allowed to enjoy it. You are allowed to attract abundance. Let that sink in for a moment. Most of us grow up hearing mixed messages about money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are selfish. Money is the root of all evil. We are not the kind of people who become rich. Don't expect too much. Just be grateful for what you have. Money changes people. These beliefs get embedded deep in our subconscious. We may dream of financial freedom, but we silently sabotage ourselves because somewhere inside we believe having money makes me a bad person. Rich people are greedy. It's dangerous to want too much. I'm not capable of earning a lot. Money is not for people like me. And yet, we need money to experience freedom, to travel, to support our family, to create impact, to donate, to build dreams, to live peacefully, to live fully. Jen Sincero writes a quote that hits like lightning. You can have the life you want, or you can have your excuses for why you can't. You can't have both. This includes money. So let's explore Jen's idea about money through a different lens. Star, money is energy. This is one of the book's most transformative concepts. Jen explains, money is not good or bad. Money is simply energy. It flows in response to your beliefs, your actions, your confidence, your decisions, your frequency, your sense of self-worth, and the question becomes, are you attracting this energy or pushing it away without realizing it? Let's test something. When you hear the sentence, "I want to make a lot of money," what emotions rise inside you? Shame, guilt, excitement, judgment, fear, embarrassment? Whatever rises, that's your money story. And here's the truth Jen wants you to embrace. You deserve abundance, not for any special reason, but simply because you exist. There isn't a cosmic scoreboard saying, "You've been good enough, you may now receive abundance." No, abundance flows to those who invite it, who believe they deserve it, who operate with gratitude and faith instead of scarcity and fear, who take aligned action instead of waiting for miracles to drop from the sky. Jen teaches that when you shift your mindset from, "I hope I have enough," to, "I am ready for abundance," your reality changes. You start asking for better opportunities. You start saying no to things that drain your energy. You start setting boundaries. You start charging what you're worth. You start making financial decisions that align with your future, not your past. Money is not the goal. Money is a tool that amplifies your ability to live with freedom, purpose, and joy. Chapter 9. Breaking Old Patterns. Have you ever wondered why some habits or behaviors repeat over and over even when you're fully aware of them? Why you keep choosing the same kind of relationships, entering the same cycles, making the same financial decisions, or holding the same insecurities even though you know they hold you back? Jen Sincero breaks this down beautifully. Your subconscious patterns are like software running in the background. They make decisions before you even realize it. And most of this software was installed when you were a child. Think about it. When you were young, you absorbed everything. What your parents said about money, what teachers said about intelligence, what society told you about dreams, what relatives told you about safety, what friends told you about fitting in, what experiences told you about failure, what heartbreaks told you about trust. All these inputs formed the beliefs that live in you today. But here's the issue. These beliefs are outdated. They belong to a past version of you, and yet they're still controlling your present. It's like trying to run a high-speed internet company using a computer from 1997. You need an upgrade. Jen Sincero emphasizes that breaking old patterns begins with awareness. Ask yourself, why do I react this way? Where did this belief come from? Whose voice is this? Is this story still true? What if I release this pattern today? For example, if you grew up hearing, "You must work hard to make money," you may feel guilty earning money through creativity or ease. If you grew up hearing, "Don't attract too much attention," you might sabotage opportunities to shine. If you grew up hearing, "People like us don't get ahead," you may subconsciously limit your ambition. Patterns are not destiny, they're just the default settings. And every day you have the power to reset them. This is where Jen introduces a life-changing idea. You can choose new thoughts, you can choose new beliefs, you can choose a new identity. Just like you update your phone, you can update your internal programming. And the moment you do, your habits shift, your actions change, your standards rise, your energy expands, your life transforms. Part 10. The Power of Gratitude. There's a point in the book where Jen Sincero talks about gratitude in a way that feels both refreshing and profound. Most people treat gratitude like a polite gesture. "Thank you for dinner, thank you for the gift, thank you for your help." But Jen says, gratitude is not a reaction, it's a way of life. It's a frequency, a state of receiving, a state of openness, a magnet for miracles. When you practice gratitude intentionally, your entire emotional system shifts. Because gratitude forces you to focus on what is working, what you do have, what is possible, what is beautiful, what is meaningful. And here's the secret. You cannot feel fear and gratitude at the same time. You cannot feel scarcity and gratitude at the same time. You cannot feel jealousy and gratitude at the same time. Gratitude changes your vibration instantly. It softens your heart, it expands your energy, it trains your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. Imagine starting your day not with stress, but with a deep breath and the thought, "I am grateful for this chance to live another day." Imagine ending your day not with worry, but with the thought, "Something good happened today, even if it was small." This single habit can transform your life. Many spiritual teachers say gratitude opens the door to abundance. Jen Sincero agrees. When you appreciate what you have, you become ready to receive more. It's like telling the universe, I am paying attention, I am grateful, I am open for more blessings, and the universe responds, always. Part 11. Aligning your energy with your goals. Here is one of the most powerful parts of the book and something that makes Jen Sincero's teaching stand out. She explains that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. This is why many people struggle to manifest their desires. They want wealth, but their energy is rooted in fear of poverty. They want love, but their energy is rooted in insecurity or distrust. They want success, but their energy is rooted in self-doubt. To bring something into your reality, you must align your energy with the version of you who already has it. Sounds strange? Let's break it down. Imagine the version of you who already achieved your dream. Let's call them future you. Future you is confident. Future you takes action. Future you loves themselves. Future you makes decisions boldly. Future you trusts their intuition. Future you doesn't waste time. Future you charges their worth. Future you attracts opportunities. Future you looks people in the eye. Future you says yes to aligned things and no to draining ones. Now ask yourself, what does future you believe? And do you believe that today? How does future you behave? And do you behave that way today? This is the essence of alignment. It's not about faking it till you make it. It's about becoming the version of you who is ready to receive everything you want. And when you do, things begin to shift in ways you cannot explain logically. You meet the right people, opportunities appear, ideas flow, motivation rises, confidence strengthens, life accelerates. Energy alignment isn't magic, it's emotional clarity, it's identity work, it's spiritual openness, it's stepping into your power before life forces you to. Jen Sincero says it best. Your thoughts and beliefs dictate your reality. When you change them, you change everything. Part 12. Becoming your highest self. Imagine a version of you who is no longer held back by fear, doubt, or hesitation. A version of you who wakes up excited, who trusts themselves, who makes bold decisions, who speaks clearly, who walks into a room with quiet confidence, who creates opportunities instead of waiting for them, who loves deeply, who dreams big, who acts bigger, who follows purpose instead of pressure, who stops negotiating with their potential. That version of you is not a fantasy. It's a possibility, a blueprint, a spiritual identity waiting to be activated. Jen Sincero calls this your higher self, and she insists that this version of you is already alive, just buried under layers of conditioning, fear, and old stories. The key to meeting this higher version of yourself is simple. Stop arguing for your limitations and start fighting for your potential. Most people spend years defending their excuses. I'm too old. I'm not smart enough. I'm not ready. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. It's not practical. It's too risky. What will people think? But Jen flips this upside down. She says, you can choose to be a victim of your circumstances or a master of your destiny. Your highest self is not waiting for the perfect moment. Your highest self is waiting for you to stop shrinking. Because every time you choose fear over growth, you silence the part of you that was born to expand. But every time you take a small step towards your dreams, even if you're trembling, you awaken your highest self, the most powerful version of who you can be. Part 13. The beauty of aligned action. Let's talk about action, the bridge between you and the life you want. Jen Sincero says something that every dreamer needs to tattoo on their heart. You are powerful, you are capable, but nothing will change until you change. Wishing is not enough. Visualizing is not enough. Talking about it is not enough. Planning endlessly is not enough. You must act. But not chaotic action, not desperate action, not action driven by fear or pressure. You need aligned action. Aligned action is the step you know you need to take, the choice your intuition keeps whispering, the decision that feels expansive, the risk that excites you, the path that lights you up, the move that matches your future, not your past. Have you ever noticed how sometimes you take a small step and the world responds in a big way? You send one email and a new door opens. You ask one question and clarity arrives. You change one habit and your energy transforms. You say yes to one opportunity and life accelerates. You say no to one draining person and peace returns. Aligned action is like pushing the first domino. It doesn't look massive, it doesn't feel dramatic, but once it falls, everything else begins to move. Jen says, when you take aligned action, the universe meets you halfway. But most people wait for the universe to go first. I'll start when I feel confident. I'll act when I'm not scared. I'll move when the signs are clear. I'll try when I have enough money. I'll begin when I'm fully ready. But the universe doesn't respond to waiting. It responds to movement. You don't need to know every step, just the next one. That's all alignment asks of you. Part 14. Trusting the Universe. This is one of the most emotionally rich lessons from the book, the dance between you and the universe. Jen Sincero mixes humor, spirituality, and practicality when she explains. Your job is to want it, believe it, and act on it. The universe's job is to arrange the how. This is tough for people who love control. We want a plan, a timeline, a guarantee. We want to know exactly how things will unfold. But life rarely works that way. Think back to some of the most important things in your life right now. A job you didn't expect. A friend you met accidentally. A relationship that entered your life in a strange way. A lesson that came from pain. A dream you didn't know you had. A chance encounter that changed everything. The universe has its own rhythm, its own timing, its own intelligence. Jen reminds us, faith is required long before evidence appears. And that's the uncomfortable part. Faith feels powerless because it requires surrender. You're not giving up control to be passive. You're giving up control to allow synchronicity to happen. You cannot micromanage miracles. When you trust, you create space. When you trust, you relax. When you trust, you stay open. When you trust, you notice possibilities. When you trust, you stop sabotaging. When you trust, you vibrate higher. Trust doesn't mean doing nothing. Trust means doing your best and allowing the universe to take care of the rest. Part 15. Building unshakable confidence. Let's talk about confidence, that magnetic force that makes people walk differently, speak differently, and live differently. Contrary to popular belief, confidence is not natural. Confidence is not genetic. Confidence is not luck. Confidence is a skill, a practice, a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows every time you use it. Jen Sincero explains that confident people do one thing consistently. They act before they feel ready. That's it. They don't wait for perfection. They don't wait for validation. They don't wait for applause. They don't wait for guarantees. They move while their heart is pounding. They speak while their voice shakes. They begin even when they feel unqualified. They trust that confidence will follow action, not the other way round. Think of any time you gained confidence. Learning to ride a bicycle, driving a car, speaking a new language, your first day at a job, learning a new skill, talking to new people, leading a team, building something from scratch. You weren't confident at the beginning. You became confident by doing. Confidence is built through repetition, resilience, courage, persistence, self-belief, failure, success, learning. Jen beautifully describes that each brave action deposits a confidence coin into your identity. The more you deposit, the wealthier you become in self-belief. And eventually, your self-belief becomes unshakable. Not because your life is perfect, but because you finally trust yourself to handle anything. Part 16. Living a Fearless Badass Life. Now we arrive at the heart of the book, what it truly means to live like a badass. It doesn't mean being loud or arrogant. It doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean being superior. Being a badass means you refuse to live a small life. You choose growth over comfort. You trust your intuition. You follow your heart even when others disagree. You believe you are worthy of abundance. You show up fully, unapologetically, authentically. You stop settling. You stop playing small. You stop dimming your light. A badass life is a self-created life. A life where you take responsibility for your energy, your choices, your identity, your dreams, and your path. A life where you honor your soul's desires, not society's expectations. Where you wake up and say, "This is my one life. I refuse to waste it." The question Jen wants you to ask yourself is simple. What would I do if I fully loved and believed in myself? Your answer to that question is the map to your badass life. Conclusion. Your badass awakening. Let's come back to where we started. You, lying awake at night, wondering if life was meant to feel bigger, brighter, more meaningful, more alive. Jen Sincero's message is clear. It can, it will, and it starts with you. You are not ordinary. You are not stuck. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are not unworthy. You are a badass, a powerful, capable, brilliant human being with dreams worth chasing and a life worth living fully. And deep down, you already know this. You feel it, a spark, a pull, a quiet voice saying, "Wake up, your life is waiting." Key takeaways. 1. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you believe in possibility, you create possibility. 2. Fear is a compass, not a barrier. Move toward what scares you. It's often where growth lives. 3. Money is energy. You deserve abundance without guilt or shame. 4. Aligned action creates momentum. You don't need the whole plan, just the next step. 5. Trust the universe. Stop micromanaging miracles. Stay open, stay brave. 6. Confidence comes from action. Do the thing and confidence will follow. 7. You are responsible for the life you create. Stop arguing for your limitations. Star. Final emotional closing. At the end of the day, life is not about playing safe. It's about playing true. True to your heart, true to your potential, true to your purpose. You were not born to be average. You were born to be alive. And the moment you remember that, your badass journey begins. Final CTA for your video. If this summary gave you something to think about, if it made you feel inspired, empowered, or awakened, please like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Buddha Wisdom for more powerful life-changing book summaries. Thank you for watching, thank you for dreaming, and thank you for believing, not just in this video, but in yourself. Because you, yes you, are a badass.